The idea of this really was to talk specifically about that synergy that happened when you two guys sort of went, hang on a tick, we're both doing the same thing. I'll start, say, with you, Karm.
I had developed a dream to grow an investment group that was all around the world, a group of property investors. My focus was on property initially. And I was travelling around Australia, presenting to various groups and building this dream about the property players group. And what I didn't have was all of the detail of how it would occur. It was a bit like JFK standing there saying, we're going to take a man to the moon, but I didn't know how it would happen. Then I travelled to Bali in October last year, and that was to do the Master Practitioner in Wealth Dynamics, and that's where I met this guy, Petrus. And I remember I was in one of those four-wheel drives travelling towards Vision Villas, just introducing ourselves and saying what I was doing and talking about some of the clever ways we were structuring money flow in our investment opportunities. And Petrus said, "Oh my God!"
Was it before or after we were in the swimming pool until 2 o'clock in the evening? we were swimming. We went for a swim. I think it was like 12 o'clock at night, and we ended up talking till 2 o'clock that night.
Yeah.
And I think the next morning in the 4x4, the penny dropped, and we thought, "Wow, we can do this together."
That's right.
And until then, for me, it was trial and error. I started the company in South Africa, the investment company. I wrote the Diamond course. And even after people did the Diamond course, I saw, well, there's still something missing, because people invest and they're feeling unsure. They don't know where this fits into the bigger plan. And this is when we started the hubs. It was just right at that stage when we did our first 5 or 6 big investments through the investment hubs that I went to Bali. And we started talking, and you know, it was one of those scenarios where he started sharing his vision, and I listened to him and said, but this is exactly what I was doing. And it was like, okay.
What was that moment like? Did you both realise it together, or was it when you were separate, or did you both sort of suddenly go?
Certainly for me, I think it was pretty much instantaneously joint. Right there, we were very aware that was, oh my God, this is what we are both doing. We should really talk about this seriously. And for me, the thing was, I actually remember saying to Petrus, I presented the vision for this property player group and this network up in Brisbane the day before I met Petrus, and I just had some challenging questions about how we're going to do this and the systems and stuff, which, hey, I knew the what, I didn't have the how. I knew we needed a course, you know, some training material and stuff, and there was heaps of stuff out there, but I hadn't found anything that resonated or made sense. And when Petrus said, no, you can't do it like that, you've got to do this, and he just explained some of his experience in setting up those teams, the hubs. Because I'd been talking about the players group, meaning the teams, playing the game instead of watching the game. And Petrus had the whole structure there. And I thought, hey, that's so much better than trying to build it myself.
So Petrus, you had the concept of hubs.
Yes.
And you had the concept of teams, Karm. And then it was just really a case of going, oh, look, we can just join the dots here, and the two work.
It was so powerful, because at that stage, I never thought of taking it international until that moment. But at that stage, when I went to Bali, our hubs has just invested in a small shopping centre, some land banking. They bought a huge amount of apartments in apartments development. So I saw the power of the system, and actually never really thought of taking this international. And when I spoke to Karm and heard he was doing the same thing in Australia, or had the same concept, I suddenly realised, but wow, you know, I don't have to do this in isolation. South Africa, we can do it together, and we can build something much bigger than I started there.
Petrus talked about having a vision of economic empowerment across all of Africa, and I can remember saying, like, why would you stop with Africa? Like, why keep so small? So small. Africa's only a tiny little bit.
That moment when you both realised, in the context of timelessness, was it a timeless moment?
It was, you know, how certain in certain times, the universe opens up the next step for you, and then support it with various events that sort of confirms this is the next thing for me. The next day, we all went to swim, and just about 6 of us just about drowned. And I had this experience of trying to save one of the people that got into trouble. And we're getting really, really tired. And first of all, the thought came up that maybe I must just leave this person to drown, and then at least save myself. And then somehow I felt better after I had allowed myself the thought to come up. And then the second time I really got tired, the thought dawned on me that one or both of us might die today, and the reason is I neglected to train my body as I was used to doing it. And the next day, what happened to me is I thought about that thought that I entertained of that one or both of us might die, and how I stopped training and neglecting my responsibility for 2 years. And I suddenly just realized that it is because we that are in the position to create wealth don't take our responsibility seriously to do so, that millions of people die of hunger every day. And many of those people are not in the position that we are in to create the wealth that we can.
The idea of economic empowerment, was that idea born out of that set of incidents?
Until that moment, the only vision I had was for South Africa and Africa. And it was only connecting with Karm that I started thinking, oh, okay, maybe we can think about the whole world and not only Africa. I had the idea of economic empowerment for Africa. That was where my whole dream or vision was born, traveling through Africa and seeing the immense poverty in Africa.
Is the vision more mature?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think having started out, we had certain ideas of how it's going to be, and reality, when you start out with an idea, you've got a bias, and you think this is how it's going to work, and reality keeps on checking and saying, okay, this is what's possible. And we've been reshaping the idea around the reality we encountered as we grew from one country to the next. And it's actually becoming more powerful.
What's the vision now?
The vision is an investor partnership network globally of people across boundaries, across country boundaries, cultural boundaries, taking hands, supporting one another to create wealth, and in the end, creating an infrastructure to support economic empowerment on all levels.
Definitely about creating a global environment, a global network of investors inspiring each other and supporting each other to create wealth, and ultimately then to be effective in the way we distribute that wealth, the way we flow it through us. I remember in Bali, Petrus asked me this fantastic question, how would I feel, how would I react if I'm earning, a substantial amount of income, cash flow per month. And it took a while to process, but I actually realised it actually isn't about my money. It's actually about where we flow the money to. And that's been, something that's become really, really clear for me, that we think the money is ours when we earn it, but the money's just this thing that flows through us. And being clear about where it flows through to is one of the most powerful things that we can embrace.
I think the other thing that's really just been so powerful for me is when I did it alone, I had a certain time frame that I wanted to create certain things, and now suddenly being part of a global partnership and global friends and supports structure, it just seems to happen so much faster. What I thought I will achieve in 5 years' time is now possible within the next 6 months.
It's always more fun to share with everyone.